Welcome to the Self-Awareness and Self-Compassion Podcast, formerly known as the Full Spectrum Feeling Podcast. I'm your host, Blaise Schwaller, life coach, mom, and former tattoo artist. I help people heal their past, speak their truth, and love the lives that they're living now. Join me here every week for conversations on how to live an imperfect but fully engaged life that embraces all the feels so that you can stretch into your best life while enjoying the you that's here right now. Friends, can we talk about clutter? I'm recording this well in advance of when it's going live, but let it just be said that it's currently, for me, the first week of January. We're cleaning up all of the Christmas and holiday decorations, and it is such a relief to me every year when this happens. I'm like, please, for the love of God, get all of this crap out of my space. I love to have everything be open and not have a lot of knickknacks everywhere. And it feels like the holidays, not only is it like all the decorations are knickknacks and they just take up an inordinate amount of space and they're just huge and they're everywhere and they're overpowering and they have lights and they have noises and I don't like any of that. It's also like the whole holiday is about presents and giving presents, and those take up space too. And then there's all the garbage. And then, of course, there's not a recycle day when you need it. It's like 2 weeks later. So we're only just now getting rid of all the boxes and the paper. And what I perceive is just a huge amount of wastefulness that just grates on my nerves so much. So that's finally leaving. But it's also all of the things that you get that you're like, oh, it's another knickknack. It's cute. It's fun. It gives me joy for a few seconds, but what am I really reasonably going to do with this? Will I ever use this little figurine? Or will it just take up another surface and be another thing that I need to dust? I have difficulty with the holidays. However, as we get to clean up, as we declutter, as all of this stuff is getting put away, it's like a whole level of overstimulation that I've had going nonstop in my life for the whole last month is also finally getting dialed down. So I think, what I really want to talk about is overstimulation and how that can come from so many things. For me, it's often when there's gatherings, when there's a lot of people. I'm present for it. I want to be there. I want to be with people, but I find it very overwhelming. And it's like there's so much to take in. There's so much to see. It's new scents. Like people smell differently. Like they've got different hair products. And I notice that, and different perfumes and things. Like their stuff takes up space. Colors. What is everyone talking about? There's so many conversations happening. So to me, it's just this cacophony of sound and noise and smells and sights and lights. And the lights are up and they're on way longer than I want them to be on. I make it sound like it's hellacious. I actually had a great time. But I know that for me, all of that was a lot to process. And it takes me like extra processing time is how I would want to describe it, where after a gathering or even during a gathering, I know that I'm going to take an additional day, 2 or 3, to wind down and process all of that information that came in and either offload it, forget it, turn it into a memory or whatever it is, like cope with whatever happened. It just takes me some time. I also notice that as my space gets filled with things, that's also another kind of sensory overload for me where I'm like, I feel like things are just coming in and crunching in on me and they're falling on me, and they're not actually, but it just feels like I don't have enough space to move. I don't have enough space to breathe. I personally don't like it, and I know I'm not the only one in the world who feels that way, so I'm just putting it out there. If you're someone who gets hella overstimulated by this stuff, you're not alone. It sucks. I feel you. And I also understand like the conflicting emotions that come up because of it, because part of you is like, I shouldn't feel that way. Everyone else is having fun. Why am I not having fun? Why is this stressful for me? And I think honestly, there's like people whose entire therapy practices are probably full of people that just have Christmas and holiday, Thanksgiving and all this stuff trauma. And so much of it is this overstimulation and then the judgment that we put on ourselves for why why are we not having fun? Why is this stressful for me? If it's stressful for you, it's stressful for you. You don't need to judge that. That just adds a whole nother layer of complication to what's already blah. Like, you don't do that to yourself. Let it go. It's okay. You have my permission 100%. Be traumatized by the holidays. Be traumatized by the stuff in your space and all the people and the loud noise and the cheer and the music. Let's talk about the music. Oh my goodness. Constantly having songs, to me, is irritating. I love music, but something about jingly, jangly sounds, very irritating. It's like the sound of a fork on a chalkboard. It hurts. There's actual physical pain is how I perceive it, even though it's not really. I don't know how to describe that. My husband tells me, what is it, misophonia? Like where you can't handle excess sounds, and sounds that are just normal level sounds are really irritating and painful to you. I definitely suffer from that. So I make a lot of effort in my life to then retreat. Retreat, honestly, is like a huge part and parcel of being Blaze. So I plan in my day. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go see people. I'm going to have lunch. Like, it's even like, oh, we're going to have like family dinner at the table and everyone's going to be talking and laughing and there'll be bright lights and it's food and clinking. I then know that I'm going to spend some time after that walking away, going upstairs, sitting by myself, even if it's just for 10 minutes, because for me, I need that time, I guess, to just process and let go of all of that. Because otherwise it's like I hold on to it and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up in my head. In my experience, it's like my whole body vibrates with it and it has nowhere to go. And I think that's where stress starts to have a negative physical impact on me anyway, is that if I don't make room for it and know that it's happening and give it an outlet somewhere, somehow, then it's still on me and it will spill over. It'll spill over into the next day. It'll spill over into my level of irritation with just normal things. So I have to be conscious of it. Anyway, the cleaning up, the putting away physically of all of the stuff that I associate with this particular kind of overload, to me is like the most joyous part of Christmas. And you guys, I don't want to be, well, actually, I don't mind. Maybe I am that bah humbug person. I know my mother-in-law sees that in me where she's like, oh, you're such a bah humbug. You're not into this. And I'm just going to embrace it and be like, you know what? It's not in a mean way. I'm not like, oh, don't have a holiday, don't have fun. It's just like, I personally really don't enjoy so many of those things. I find them offensive, mostly because it's so loud and it's so bright and it's so over the top that I personally can't process that. It needs to be a much quieter, chiller, like spa experience for me to be like, what a wonderful holiday. Like, I don't, can you imagine? Oh my God. If the holiday experience was actually a bunch of people getting together to quietly like sip tea, read books, put their feet in a spa, listen to the sounds of nature, get a massage. Like, that is my ideal. Like, that sounds amazing. Sign me up for 5,000 of those. But what I get instead is like glitter bombs and crazy cards and paper cuts. Just garbage, so much garbage and packaging and the stress of ordering things. Like, it feels like clutter in every area of my life. And I don't know if you relate to this or not, but it's just the mental tallying of, have I gotten gifts for everyone? Did I send cards to everybody? Did I open cards? Was I supposed to put them out? Will someone be offended if I don't wear the right thing or like remember their gift? How do I tell so-and-so that the gift that they get me every year is completely like, I can't use it or don't want it? I struggled for years trying to figure out how to tell my family, like, please stop buying me earrings. I can't wear earrings. Like, you've never seen me wear them because they hurt me. Like, putting them in my body, like, the metal irritates my ears. They, like, get swollen and red and it hurts. And I can't wear them. And I don't know why that was such a hard conversation to have. But I think, again, it's like the mental tallying of, am I going to offend someone? If I finally admit it now, I've let it gone on so long that now I'm hurting them not just one time, but like 30 times, like my whole life. They've given me this present that I can't use. Anyway, it's the mental torture. It's the physical accumulation of just things to maneuver around, things taking up every surface. So now there's not a surface to put food down on or organize normal things, extra stuff in the mail, extra stuff like doorbells ringing, loud shows, lots of singing. Singing is joyful. I really do simultaneously see the joy and the happiness in hearing my daughter, like, I want to say caterwaul, like holiday tunes, because it's so loud. If I'm a few rooms away and I hear her singing, it's beautiful. If she's like right next to my ear, I'm like, oh my God, it hurts me. Please bring it down. All of the decibels. So we're working on it. As this holiday moves out, it's like the ocean receding. It's the calmness. It's like the space for the air. There's just peace. I see myself smiling a lot. I'm like, oh my gosh, all I have to do is bring the boxes downstairs. It's going to be so nice. And then I can walk around my house. I can sit anywhere. I can look at anything. Like, it just feels much more open, clean. I guess it's just highlighting my own values, really, which is, space, quiet, time to reflect, space to breathe, the ability to focus. Yeah, I think that's it. Like, I want to be able to be present for what's going on. And I guess I personally have a hard time filtering through multiple things at once. I'm not a person who can like have the TV on and read a book. I'm not a person who can like listen to music and do anything other than paint maybe or walk. When I'm talking to someone, I just want to sit and talk to them. So I think because that's important to me and because my particular affliction is that I can't process everything if there's too many things happening, I find it irritating and unpleasant to have a lot of things going on. And I try to not have that in my life and in my space. So I want to give you guys permission, I guess, to accept these parts of yourself that maybe you might not like so much, because I don't like that about me. I don't like that I'm not as into the holidays and into the spirit of Christmas or the spirit of decorating as other people. I felt bad about it a lot, in that I felt like I should be more joyful about it and I should see how much joy it's bringing other people. And because I'm just in my own thoughts about it, I don't really perceive how much joy other people have about it. To me, it's just something irritating that's going on in my space. But if you're also someone who has moments like that, particularly with this experience or anywhere in your life, to be able to just have a moment to go, I see you, and I see that it's not that you're mean, it's not that you're not wanting to connect on that way, it's just this is something that's difficult for me. It's something difficult personally. There's a reason I find it frustrating, and it's because I do want to connect, it's because I do want to be present, and it's harder for me with all this other stuff going on. We all have stuff like this. Probably not exactly like this, but maybe. I don't know. Maybe you're like me. Maybe there's just too much things. There's too many things in the world, man. We just need to distill it down. Anyway, I am putting away all of the boxes today. I'm going to dust off the surfaces and just smile a huge smile at how liberated and free and clean and happy I am about the whole thing. Do a little happy dance, and then just sit down with a book and enjoy a nice, like, low light book reading with my cup of tea. And I wish you all great peace and happiness, and that you're able to find the way to love and accept yourself, even as pieces of yourself come up that maybe you aren't as happy about or as in love with, just the same way that I'm doing today. I will see you all next week, and I wish you a fabulous time until then. See you. Thanks so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with someone you love, and leave us a review. You can learn more and get some self-compassion tips and tricks by visiting coachwithblaze.com, where you can sign up to get my free booklet on overcoming anxiety, overwhelm, exhaustion, and burnout. I'm sending you so much appreciation and love, and I'll see you next time.